DuVernay Show. Thank you, those of you who are just tuned in. I encourage you to call a friend. Let them know the Robert DuVernay Show is alive. We are live from the great state of Florida, reporting live Robert DuVernay Show. If it's 8 p.m., if it's Monday, it's a Robert DuVernay Show. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, at this time, my fellow Americans, I'd like to thank you for allowing me into your home, to your phone, wherever you may be. Those of you at work, taking some classes at home, you take the time to be here with me. You know, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's a Robert DuVernay Show. Well, tonight I'd like to speak with you on a series of topics which I find to be quite interesting, and I'm sure as well you will find it as well interesting. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to call a friend, let them know that the Robert DuVernay Show is live. So I hope you had a wonderful weekend. As always, the Robert DuVernay Show comes every Monday or day after Sunday, and to reflect on the past week and the week to come. Well, tonight which is the first Monday of the month of May. The month of May, those of you who know a thing or two about the month of May, is a month that blossoms. It's a month that there's a host of series of things that we celebrate the month of May. The month of May, although it carries 31 days, but cannot contain so many things that we have to do. First off, we'll be celebrating Mother's Day. I'd like mothers, you guys are the best in the world. The best creature God ever created has to be the mothers. The ladies, of course. And we will be celebrating you this Sunday, the 9th. I encourage you, those of you who have significant others in your life, a mother, a sister, an aunt, someone you consider dear, or a mother figure, to take this time to honor them. Here at the Robert DuVernay Show, we take great pride in celebrating mothers, because mothers is a source of life. Without mothers, we'll be lost in this world. All right. So those of you who may have some few announcements to make, if you want to send a shout out to a significant others that you'd like to celebrate, well, the Robert DuVernay Show will be more than happy to assist you in making sure that your message reaches destination. Throughout the course of tonight, we'll be talking about mothers and the influence that they have made in our great nation, in our lives, and also they are the source of the family, the beacon that we aspire to. Mothers, we love you, and from the bottom of my heart, since this is the last show before Mother's Day, I do not want to be on the back end. I'd like to take this time to wish you a happy and prosperous Mother's Day. From the bottom of my heart to you mothers, happy Mother's Day. All right. Now we're going to change the subject here to the address to Congress. As you know, last week President Biden has issued his first address to Congress. When that happened, he is a newly president. He's been in office for 106 days right now. Mr. Biden has given a report to both chambers, both the House Representative and the Senate, as far as the state of the nation. Again, it was well taken. Mr. Biden touched on many different facets of the economy, the improvement they've made when it comes to COVID. Again, we are just thankful for his presence. This is a man who's been in politics for well over 50 years, half of a century. This is nothing to mess with. Mr. Biden has highlighted his success and also his failures during these 90 days. We know it wouldn't be easy. We as Americans, we're here to support our leaders, support the goodwill, and of course, rally for them on the sideline. We are the cheerleaders, because like he said, we Americans, we never let down. We stand for each other. All right, thank you. Those of you who have not logged in, this is the time to log in. We encourage you to call a friend. Let them know that the Robert DuVernay Show is live. If it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert DuVernay Show. Again, tonight we'd like to speak on a topic which, as an African American in the United States of America, I tend to reflect actually Haitian American / African American, so you name it. So we originally I was born in Haiti, but then again I adapt to U.S. culture for different reasons. This is a home of opportunity. There's a country I admire a great deal. I would die for the United States, and not just say it, but I would definitely, if I were asked to serve to some capacity, I would definitely. That's the reason why I take this show that I'm doing right now very dear. I believe as Americans, we have a duty to our fellow Americans. We have a duty to uphold the law, to uphold truth, and to help one another. Where am I going with this one? The reason I'm bringing this to the fore this evening, it's for the simple fact that last week, Mr. Biden delivered a speech regardless of your party. Again, at the Robert DeVerney Show, we do not pledge allegiance to a particular party. We are too big when it comes to party. We have an independent mindset. A party box cannot contain us. I've made it clear from the get-go. None of these politicians pay Robert any fees to speak on the issues. But what we here at the Robert DeVerney Show is to be impartial, to present the news to you as it is, and to give our honest opinion. And this is what reflects who we are as a people, which is very dear to me. Well, after Mr. Biden highlighted all these important things, well, one thing that stood out to me is when he turned back and he looked at Speaker Pelosi. Sister Pelosi, Speaker Pelosi was there, and as well Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. And he turned around and said this is the first time a U.S. president can call both Madam Speaker and Madam Vice President behind him. That was a historical moment. Well, thank you, Dr. Israel. Well, yeah, definitely, this show is not for sale. Well said. I could not have said it better. I could not have said it better. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. Well, and then this, to me, was breathtaking. I'm thinking of my daughters. I'm thinking of my mom. I'm thinking of people that I've come in contact with. The likes of Dr. Azor. The likes of so many women, Sarah Jane Petroni, just to name a few. And these are women who made great strides. And for them to reach that pinnacle, it was amazing. And I sat there and I watched the entire speech. It was very moving. Another thing that I found in the speech was very substantive. In other words, the speech has meat. So in other words, we as Americans, we were proud to have a U.S. president stand behind a pulpit with command. And the world aspired to the United States. That's the reason why when COVID hit the world, from when COVID really started hitting the world, and then when U.S. sneezed, just think about it. I'm giving this scenario here. Well, that's the reason why when U.S. sneezed, everybody catch a cold, because they followed us. So we as leaders, we have a unique platform. When we talk, what we say does matter. Well, Mr. Biden has some aggressive agenda. He wants a $2 trillion infrastructure. He wants to repair the bridges, the roads, pay for tuition for college students, and also daycare for early childhood. But this right here, it's pivotal. The only way we can get Americans out of poverty, especially the less fortunate, is to have a solid education, a solid foundation. Those of you watching the show this evening who are in the educational field, I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to hear from Mr. Ambrose from the great city of Miami, who's teaching in elementary school. These are a gentleman I've known for over 30 years. He has made an impact in his whatever school he goes to. So, Mr. Ambrose, if you're on tonight, I'd love for you to give me your expertise when it comes to early learning for children, and what is the foundation leads to. And Dr. Izorb, of course, a psychologist in the school system. I'd like to hear from you as well, because this show is not about me; it's about you. And I think when people come together, when we talk, great things happen. That's the reason why I created this platform. Not a platform just to speak what's on my mind, but I think a platform that will create a level playing field where others who may defer to not to speak on a regular basis, but every now and then will definitely chip in and have great ideas. And then those great ideas, we could put them in on the table and dissect them for the advancement of our great nation. That's exactly what President Biden did. That you got to give him credit for, regardless of some policies that he may have that I may differ from. I'm not on board with everything that he says. I'm not on board with every program, just like I was not on board with every program the other administration had. That's what makes us independent here at the Robert DuVernay Show. That's what I want you to think about. Now, after such an eloquent speech, no gaffe whatsoever, point well was all taken, the other party has the gut to pull an African American out of nowhere from the great state of South Carolina, Senator Tim Scott, to give a rebuttal to President Biden's speech after such an eloquent speech. Well, I'm sure, they didn't pull him out 2 minutes after Mr. Biden gave the speech, but it was all well planned. But again, I'm calling on my people this evening to not to settle for trap. That was a trap for African American. And a party only has one African American in the leadership, just one. A nation of 330 million citizens. There's only one African American in your party as a senator, and this is the person that you pull to counteract a man who has 50 years in public life, who worked day and night to bring this COVID to its knees. Mr. Tim Scott cannot come even around to say that Mr. Biden is a good man. That I take issue with. If I cannot call my fellow Americans a good man, then there's issue. Regardless of our political ideologies, what we may differ. But again, for me to not be able to call a former colleague, well, of course, when Mr. Biden was in the Senate, Senator Tim Scott was not. That's well understood, and I'm sure I have a 5-year-old kid. She knows that Mr. Biden was in the Senate. So I'm sure, because to be a senator, I'd like to open a parenthesis real quick, and I'll close it immediately. The word senator, that's from Latin, meaning senor, which means people with good judgment, seasoned. So before a senator speaks, remember that most of these guys, they have law degrees. So in other words, they don't speak for no reason. And when they speak, they expect to have a weight behind what they say. But we've lost that in the U.S. Senate. The past 15 years has really been abysmal. So I call on my senators to show some more class. Okay, I just want to close this parenthesis. Now, let's go back to Mr. Tim Scott. Mr. Tim Scott, I have great respect for him. I give him kudos for having the courage to stand and rebuttal Mr. Biden after such an eloquent speech. I'm sure Mr. Biden would have said that America will make the best apple pie. I'm sure this guy would argue there's no way, because Biden says it. That I find it to be ridiculed. I find it to be problematic. Now, for any leaders within the ranks of the Republican Party, of all the pull that they have, why chose Mr. Tim Scott from South Carolina, the lone African American, to contrast what President Biden had just said just minutes ago, even an hour ago, because the speech lasts about an hour and a couple of minutes. Are they saving face to showing that the Republican Party is a party of integration? No, I don't think so. Dead wrong. If that's the case, not so, not even close. Well, I call on my people this evening to sometime, although an opportunity presented itself, there are times you should decline it. Not all opportunities are good opportunities. Well, I can tell you one thing. A lot of people who never knew Tim Scott had a wonderful opportunity to find out there was a black senator in the U.S. Senate in the Republican side, because there's a one minister, Pastor Warnoff, is correct, from Georgia, who just recently won the election, the special election in this past January, to come in. Also as an African American, but then again, the Republican Party, there's only one. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And not even one minority African American in the House. The lone person. Now, Leader McCarthy from the great state of California went on the talk show the next day and had the nerve to say that Mr. Tim Scott was staged for Biden. In other words, he wants to say that he's a potential presidential candidate for 2024. Really? This is laughable. This guy would not win even a primary if he's on state, let alone the national level. So America, I think this was a disgrace. I think it was an embarrassment, not only to Mr. Tim Scott, but to African American. And you see what African American are going through right now in lack of opportunities when it comes to jobs, being murdered on the streets, been viewed as menacing, and then now a party who has nothing to do with advancing their cause. You're going to put a man like this to argue a man, in the case of President Biden, after delivering such a speech with such eloquence and a sense of purpose, to counteract that. Now, you mean you couldn't find anyone besides him? That's a question we need to ask ourselves. Again, we're not taking sides here. I'm just being impartial. And that evening, I didn't find it to be funny, but I found it to be problematic, sad, and embarrassing. Well, Mr. Tim Scott, with all due respect, I hope you make better decision when you are called to challenge a man of the rebuttal, a man of Mr. Joe Biden caliber. Let Leader McCarthy do it. Let Mitch McConnell do it. Let Ted Cruz do it. Tell him you pass. All right? You do a service to both your family and the nation. Thank you, sir. All right, moving right along. We will like to touch base on the new Florida law. Again, as I'd like to come to Florida because the reason why I tend to focus on Florida, not only I live within the beautiful state of Florida, but I'm sure a vast majority of you who are also Floridians, who may have left the state many years ago, but you still have ties with the state, all right? The Sunshine State. Plus, this is a state that I reside, so of course, it's going to be a magnet. Just so you know that Mr. Mitt Romney had to give a speech last week. It was great in his state of Utah, and we've seen making some trends. And another topic I'd like to talk with you, but it's going to be a topic for down the road. But I'd really like to go to state of Florida. Just before I jump into the state of Florida, I just saw a comment from Dr. There are no longer politicians like McCain, Romney anymore. They're purposely opposing any agenda. Yes, I mean, well, to respond to your statement, I think is well taken. I don't know if I would put Mr. Romney in that same breath, but I'll definitely say the likes of late Senator McCain, who was a maverick in the Senate. He's a man who had value, who stood for what he believed. And then everything that he did was altruistic motive. Mr. McCain never put his interests first. Always the American people. That's the reason why he served in Vietnam. When his plane was shot down and he was captured, although later during his imprisonment, he was in concentration camp in Hanoi for 5 years. And they learned that his dad had a great relationship with the people there, and they wanted to release. He said no. He said, no, you're not going to release me because of my dad did some good deed to you, to your nation. You captured me, and if you're going to release, you're going to release all of us, not just me. Wow. Wow. That speaks volume. As recently, we've seen those in politics who are always looking for the exit door. Where the exit door at? Well, just let me out, man. Where the exit at? I mean, when push comes to shove, we don't see our leaders with backbones anymore. Yet, Senator McCain was really a maverick. A man who saw his nation before self. Forget about self. Because the work he had to do was bigger than self. All right. Close the parentheses right there. All right. New Florida. Okay, now before I jump to the new Florida law, I'm going to save this for last. I'm looking at my list here. I have tons of stuff I'd like to go over with you, but it was a census. As you know, the Robert DuVernay Show, we tend to follow up on the previous show if they had any questions. I'm sure there were some questions regarding the census and how the seats will be appropriate in the House of Representatives, and how many people that we have in the nation right now. Well, just a little quick recap based on the preliminary records that's coming in. The census showing that we have a population of 330 million Americans living within the border of the United States. Now, census comes every 10 years. And during census, what we realize, we've seen some type of migration at times. We've seen folks who would leave the state sometime people are just leaving for retirement. I'm in the state of Florida and Hawaii, and those warm state. Maybe Arizona might be too hot when it gets to 110 degrees, but they may not want to go. But Florida seems to be always a destination. As you could see, the state of Florida in recent census, the last 30 years, has only getting seats. In the House of Representatives at the federal level. But we've also seen a trend upward when it comes to New York, which only the last census, the 2020, we've seen New York has lost some residents of its own. So they're moving to Florida. Bring your business down here. Bring your expertise. The state of Florida is wide open, and we would love to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, so definitely the state of Florida has, again, one more seat. We have 30 electoral college right now. There's going to be 30 electoral college, and which means that people won't be spending a lot of time in the state of Florida. So, and Florida has a policy when it comes to the electoral college, the winner takes all. So now that we have it's going to be 30, we were 29, so whoever went 15, and now you went 16. Guess what? The 14 is yours. So technically, if you just have to win the majority, half plus one, put it this way, half plus one, you get the whole state. Okay? So Florida will have 30 electoral college right now. So you know dollars will be coming down here when it comes to presidential election. That is for sure. So they're going to bombard us with ads, with all sort of nonsense. Because remember, these politicians oftentimes they only comes out during the election. You wonder if they're just coming out of the woodwork just during the election. But then again, it's good for the economy down here. It's good for TV rating. It's good for those of you in the media. So you tend to make money that way. But we're not moving back. Okay. Well, we're going to have election. I'm just reading a note here. We have an election next year. We have a gubernatorial election. Mr. DeSantis will be running for his seat at the governor mansion. Again, as you know, just so you know, Mr. DeSantis is going to be there. If he does win, it's only going to be for 2 years because he's not going to finish his term, because he's definitely going to run for president. So stay tuned. If you hear it, it's going to be here live at the Robert DeVerney Show. Mr. DeSantis will definitely run for election. You know, with all due respect, this is a guy I have great respect for. I like Mr. DeSantis. He at times he has some good points, and he seems like a guy we can talk to. And if we were to talk to him, but we may disagree on a lot of issues, but again, at the end of the day, he would advance a project that will be both beneficial to the residents of the state of Florida. I like him very much, and I like his philosophy on certain things. We may not see eye to eye on every issue, but then again, I'm an independent thinker, so I do not pay any allegiance to any particular party. But if you stand for what's right, if you stand for law, if you stand for what's best for the state of Florida, I'm with you. That is for sure. Okay, so going back to the census, just so you know, it's very important that we vote. Now that census that just happened, the Florida Congress, okay, Florida legislature, for that matter of fact, will be drawing the map. So in other words, they will create the district, and that will determine who can win in certain district, whatnot, and then the way they're going to appropriate the seats. They allocate the funds and all that good stuff. Those are very important. That's the reason why we always make an emphasis on voting at all front. Voting at the city level, at the county level, at the statewide election, and also at the federal platform as well. Because I tell you what, these are the things that comes back and bite us. All right, you would think, well, I'm not going to worry about. I have so much things going on for me. I cannot watch politics. I cannot keep up with these guys. But you know what? I beg to differ. one way or the other, what they do matters. Yes, it would affect you somehow, someday, at some point. So it's important that we vote. It's important that we elect people, or for the matter of fact, representatives that reflect our core beliefs, our values, that are the best interests of the community. Because ultimately, when census like this happen, although it's been done, we're voting into an election that is locally, but it would have ramifications at the federal level. All right. So now, if you were, those of you, if you would love to take this challenge, I would love for you next time we meet, will be next Monday, which will be a day after Mother's Day. Again, Mother's Day again. I'd like for you to go on a U.S. map and look at the word gerrymandering. Okay, Google that word, gerrymandering. You would see how politicians, elected officials, people that we elect who know the law, but yet we too busy doing our own thing, they get away with a lot of stuff because we don't hold them accountable. My assignment to you, my viewers, is to have a mindset that is always searching, hungry for knowledge. That's what we want. That's what we lack in America. We want the quick way out. But I want you to do some due diligence on your part. See how they draw the lines when it comes to electoral map. You would understand how cruel some of our leaders are. All right? So then at that point, only then, you will understand that it's important that we elect people. We elect representatives that value our core beliefs, that stand for what we believe, that's in our best interest. Only then we can say that. All right, sounds good. Well, now I see time is fast approaching. It's already 40 minutes after the hour. I'm going to touch real quick here the new law in Florida. As you know, the state of Florida has brought in quite a few laws recently, and especially when it comes to protest. And if there's a crowd of 50 or more, there's legislation in place right now. There's a bill in the House which would want police department to have drone, and just so they can monitor who at the protest. So I think that's an infringement on our First Amendment, and I don't think the police department or anyone, if you wanna, because the Constitution guarantees us the right to protest far right. Now, with all due respect, I don't want anyone to breaking things, breaking business, burning the flags. I despise that. This will be unacceptable. We as Americans, we have the right to protest far right. Yes, we do. But within the conformity of our Constitution. Peacefully assembly, but not to destroy. Now, I have issues right now when they want to send drone. Now, if I have my son or my daughter who happen to have a passion for public service, and yet they believe deep within themselves, just sitting on the sideline, it's not enough, and they're taking a stand. And that stance oftentimes is a spark that they need, maybe out of protest. They go there, maybe they do some grassroots work where they mobilize some students. Remember that? Remember that? Well, what I'm talking about, the analogy I'm using right now, those are college students I'm referring to. And you're gonna go ahead and use drone while they are there protesting something they deeply believe in. Now you have the pictures. Think about it, because the drone, The drone has the ability to zoom your face, and now with AI right now, artificial intelligence right now, they can. Right now I'm on YouTube. I'm a public servant, so I'm here in the open. The entire world may be watching me right now, which I encourage them to do so. But with my face, they know who I am. They know my name. They know where I live. They know what I do, what my political affiliation is. So now you're gonna give a kid 18 or 19 years old, you're gonna pull their pictures, and you can always report them to the school, and then you know exactly where to get them. That to me, it is un-American. So I'm calling on my fellow Americans, I'm calling on my fellow Floridians, for that matter of fact, to call your elected officials at the state level. Let them know that this bill should be dead on arrival. They should not allow this. And then this is they're only doing this just to tackle a particular segment of the population. Since the death of George Floyd as of June 25th of last year, they have written numbers of law, about 81, just because there has been protest. Well, my take on this one, they are concerned. There's panic on the other side, and they want to clamp it down. So, we as Americans, we must call our elected officials. Let them know that we're not going to sit on the sideline not taking notes. And when these things happen, we have a duty to uphold the law. And how do we do that? We vote them out. And if we think that something is not right, and this is time that you go ahead and collect signatures and run for office. There's a saying that goes, he who has a vision must lead. That's my message to you this evening. I think it's time that we as Americans, we don't just watch television, soap opera. And these guys are making money. They're in Hollywood. They don't know what the average man is going through. So just by feeding these people, you just fill in the pockets, the pocketbooks. I think we, as Americans, we need to take this thing to heart and tell them we got tired of this pacifier. Justice is gonna come. No, justice will never come. You gotta get your own justice. And how do you get your own justice? You don't have to do exactly what they're doing, no. You learn the system. There's a cause you passionately believe about. I'm not talking about someone with a flash of emotion. I'm referring to those of us who may have this anguish, deep pain, deep sorrow for injustice. That's who we need. Well, my fellow Americans, there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that can be done. And the task is rests on your shoulders. How we move forward, this is the nation that we want to leave for our grandchildren. Do we want to leave them a nation that is in peace, that is fair, that justice is equal under the law? What kind of nation that we want to leave to our children and future generations? Well, tonight I call on my fellow Americans to be cognizant of what's at stake, what's on the ballot. We have election. We have a special election coming up in Texas. Those of you who may be watching me in Texas, this will test the system. We're going to have election next year. Again, I thank you. Those of you who just logged in, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time in following the Robert Duvernay Show. Again, just before I give my last shout out, I'd like to thank each one of you for logging in this evening. I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to all you ladies. Sunday the 9th will be Mother's Day. I can see a few here. I'd like to say Happy Mother's Day to Dr. Nadij Azor from the great state of Georgia. Happy Mother's Day to Dr. Geralda DeBernie. Happy Mother's Day to, I'm looking for the lady, Pastor Lernia Gallen. Thank you, those of you, those are the ladies I can see. Man, I cannot wish you Happy Father's Day yet because it's not the month of June yet. This whole month of May is dedicated to the woman for the effort. Also, I should point out this Haitian Flag Day. Haitian Flag Day will be May 18th. And we give you guys, thank you. You're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. And we give honor to those honors deserved, okay? And we thank all Haitian Americans who contribute to the great nation of ours and also the Haitians abroad. Again, on this note, I'd like to close tonight and wishing you the very best and make the best of this whole month. This is the month of the ladies. And your ladies, I think a year would not be enough to celebrate you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, once you know it's 8 o'clock on Monday, it's the Robert Burney Show. Share that with a friend. Let them know every Monday at 8 p.m. the Robert Burney Show is live. Until we meet again next time, will be another show on light. Have a wonderful week. Again, Happy Mother's Day.